Hello and welcome. I think I did that right. 31 ways to grow your business. What's up, everyone? My name is Zach Miller, and I am so incredibly happy to be here with you today. It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood, and today I'm going to talk and walk you through a series of monumental moments in your day. They will be in no particular order, or maybe they will be. How to find, win, and engage influencers for your business. How to process for funneling visitors into customers. Turn disappointed guests into raving fans where they're like, yes, 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 yes. And how to get anyone to open your emails. That should be fun. Will you open my email? I don't know. So who am I? I am Petey Pa Mother. No. That's a song that I was listening to earlier. I'm also Bane. This is actually my mask to wear around. No, I'm Zach Miller. I am the author of Anomaly, How to Finally Stand Out from the Crowd. I'm the lead man behind the jean jacket movement, and I am the king of the Anomaly Nation. But today I'll just be the guy that needs a haircut. Whatever. That's fine too. Why are you here? Well, you are probably here because you've started a business and you want more customers. You want to take your existing business content fans and turn it into an absolute juggernaut. You're frustrated with the results that you're getting and you don't know what to do. So you came to me, the master of the jean jacket movement, for all of your business and marketing needs. I should screenshot that. I like that. If you guys have questions about, feel free to go to the comment section and simply or on your cell phone away, and I will answer them when I see them. All this information is strategies that I have used or used directly with my clients over the years. So nothing here is just theory. It's all things, all strategies that have been used that have gotten significantly, amazingly results. How do I quantify that? I don't know. Look that up in a dictionary. What significantly, incredibly results look like, and that's what it was. We're going to go over eight things. I'm going to talk about 3 of them right now because I don't want to read all of them and you don't want me to hear them. Social reviews, existing work, and podcasts. That sounds like good. So let's move into the first one. Okay, enough of having to look at me. We're going to go straight to the slides. Are you ready? If you guys remember, if you have questions, feel free to ask in the comments. Let's begin in 3, 2, and 1. Here we go. So one thing I didn't say in my introduction is that also I have a journalism degree and worked in a newsroom for 3 years and then hosted a TV show for 4 years. So I have extensive knowledge and understanding how not only to get press, how to get their attention, and how to master the art of getting attention. Press is an opportunity to capitalize off of a typically larger than your business, to get a bunch of people to see you, and typically it's free. It should be free. And what's great about press is a lot of people will see it, and it gets you for people to look at you and say, wow, this guy was newsworthy, and that's an incredible opportunity. So when you are looking to get press, think about creating a relationship with a reporter. Now, you want these transactions to not just be like that annoying sales call, because ultimately that's what you would be doing to this reporter. Imagine calling someone up and being like, hey, write a story on me, produce a story on me. That reporter is going to be like, why? I don't know you, you donkey. But instead, if you were to create a relationship with that person first, and then they got to know you when the opportunity came up, guess what potentially could happen? A story to be produced about you. Why is that incredibly valuable? well, it's incredibly valuable because you are increasing your probability of actually getting that story produced about you, which will ultimately get new eyeballs on you and can ultimately create more transactions for you, which is what you want, more business, right? So you find that person on the beat. A beat is simply the topic of choice that they typically do. So you're not going to talk to a sports reporter about the weather. Well, maybe you would in that case, but you don't talk to the sports reporter about agriculture or, equipment and things like that. Just make sure that you're talking to the right beat reporter. They don't all necessarily have beats the same way they once did, but some of them still do. You want to follow, engage with them on social. Most of them are on Twitter. They love Twitter. Then reach out to them via email after you've followed them on Twitter and just say, hey, nice to meet you. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. And then help them with a story idea or lead. So if you are perusing through their information and you recognize that they have been doing a story that you thought was cool, maybe give them a little bit of information on a different lead on that story, not to do with you. Or you can provide them more details or more information on a story that they just did. They would love something like that, but this has nothing to do with your business yet. So let's say that you typed in a topic on the old search engine machine. If this was localized, you would talk about that specific topic. Then maybe it was about beer, local beer. This is the story that pops up. What you'll find out is this lady Robbins is the producer of this story, and it says it because it's on every single piece of media publication, and it would be for anyone else. It's basically saying this is the person who produced it. That's her name. And then if you look, there's a little Tweety bird, tweet, 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 and then a little envelope. Is that what that is behind it? Like a little mailbox envelope underneath of it. That's her Twitter. If you were to hover over that, it would say her handle. So you would reach out to her via there. And then her email, if you hover over that on the bottom left of your browser, it will have a mail to account, and you could email her, or you could click and it probably will open your email browser. But those are exactly how you find a reporter on every single story that's produced in the world. Maybe not every single, but a lot of them. If you guys have questions about this, feel free to ask me in the comments and I'll help you out. Then I want you to have a database of this information. If you're looking for one of these, you can get your own. Go to anomaliemethod.com and I'll send you a spreadsheet just like this where you can put all of your reporter information in here. Go to anomaliemethod.com and I'll send you that. But basically, it's a list of the reporters that you're thinking about reaching out to, that you should reach out to, so that you have a database of all of their information. Once you have it for a little bit and you fill it out, this is what it would start to look like. Their name, the publication that they work for, the topic, the article that they might have written about, their email, their contact information. It's just a great way for you to have information on them. As you can see, a lot of Twitters here. You don't always have phone numbers and addresses, but a lot of detailed information that's available there. So you have a database of individuals that you want to reach out to or that you have reached out to. Then maybe it's more of a global or a national business. Same thing. You look it up. There's an article about it. Here's the thing about Lindsay. Lindsay's information is right there in the green box. I think it's green. I'm colorblind. If it's not green, we'll say blue, yellow. I don't know. Hover over that. You'll get her email and her Twitter. You want to follow her and start to reach out and add to the CRM database spreadsheet that I just showed you. Where this is about creating relationships. Creating relationships is a great opportunity for you to strengthen your chance of getting a piece of press produced about you. If you were to just cold call the reporter and say, hey, do a story on me, it's very unlikely that's going to happen. But if you were to create a relationship with this individual, you're upping your chances of getting that transaction to happen. Create a relationship with them. It's not a Match.com type of relationship. You want to engage with them on social as you would the friend, not pushing your business or your own agenda. Just let it happen organically. Reporters are nosy, and if you've maximized your social profiles, like I talk about in the Anomaly Academy, you will realize that these reporters are nosy and they will broach the subject themselves. Many local and national media organizations have an opportunity for you to submit news to their publication. If they have this, you would simply type in whatever that organization is, and then like submit news, Google that, search engine that, and likely something like this will pop up. This is one that's in my backyard called Inside Business, where they want you to submit the news, and then you just fill out a form like this. Why would you do this? Because in this case, when I have seen this directly used with my clients, within like 3 days, they start getting stories produced about them. So basically from zero press to a free publicity mention because of filling out a form. Seems like a pretty good idea to me. I don't know about you, but seems like a good idea to me. Once you get that story written about you, add an as seen in section on your website. So this is directly from one of my websites where these are exactly places that I have been featured or mentioned over the years: Entrepreneur Magazine, Inside Business, TEDx, and basically I put the logo up and then a link directly to the piece of publication that was produced about me. I do this because when someone comes to my website, I don't know if what they know about me, where I've been featured, where some of my clients been featured. So if I have something like this up there, it just ups the ante, ups the probability of them thinking of me as a trusted site, as a trusted source that can help them. And I'm capitalizing off of a larger brand's clout, a larger brand's notoriety to increase my chances of getting that person to investigate more, to want to read more, to consume more, and then hopefully ultimately make transactions with me. Here's an example of what it would look like on the website. This is one of my direct websites where it just happens to be there as seen in, and then I logo and then link to those websites. If you have an email list, I would send out every single time that you have a publication produce content about you, send out a piece of that to your email list so they can know that, hey, look, Zach Miller was in the paper again. Zach Miller was produced on YouTube. Zach Miller was on Entrepreneur. Why? Because most of those people probably aren't necessarily just reading that paper. They aren't probably reading or consuming that production that's been produced anywhere online. So you have to distribute it to them. Be the distribution arm. That's the key. Be the distribution arm. Be the distribution arm. Do not wait for the publication company to do it for you. I actually wrote that down because it was so good. Then have a content calendar where you can schedule out the social post in a way that will allow you to maximize your days, because there's nothing worse than if you wanted to post something at 11:30 today, but you happen to be listening to Zach Miller Says right here, and you forgot to post it because something else came up. If you have something in your schedule, your scheduling device, and I'll show you a couple in a moment, you have an opportunity to just set it and forget it, like the rotisserie chicken mababa thing. Here are 3 examples that you can use. I've used all 3. All of them have a paid feature on them. I think all of them are. None of these have a free version anymore. But Hootsuite, Buffer, Meet Edgar, anywhere from $10 to $100 a month, depending on the size and what you're trying to do with them. One thing that I will say is that when you do use a tool like these, that it is advantageous for you to use these tools the way these social scheduling tools, the way that they were meant to be. So if you use a tool like Hootsuite, Buffer, or Meet Edgar, and the tool that the social media site that you're using, like Facebook, doesn't always love this. So use Facebook's own scheduling tool, not a social post like this. Yes, it would be nice if you could put all these things in one centralized place. However, the native site doesn't necessarily love that, and they might discriminate against you. If discriminate's the right word, they might use their algorithm against you to not give you the love that you want from it, just because you're using a third-party source, third-party tool. This is what one of them looks like on the scheduling tool. So if I wanted to push out a show, I could push that out at a certain time, and then that content would be distributed in those direct places, on those direct platforms. You have questions for this? Feel free to ask in the comments or reach out to me at Zach Miller Says, and I will help you out with that. There is blank space at the end of every single one of your emails. You're probably not using that email to your advantage. You're probably not using that email to bring you new customers. So if I wanted someone to see that I was an Entrepreneur Magazine, I could say, hey, did you see us in Entrepreneur Magazine? And then drive them directly to that link, which would pop up the Entrepreneur article. It's a great way for someone to be like, wow, they were in Entrepreneur Magazine. Maybe they don't click, but those words would resonate. Oh my goodness, they were in Entrepreneur Magazine? That's incredible. That's cool. Right now, one of mine says, are we friends on LinkedIn? It's a link to my page on LinkedIn. You have a lot of white space in your email signatures. Capitalize off of it. And then from the cover photos of each of your Facebook and Twitters and LinkedIn's, when you have new articles written about you, show an image of the article that was produced about you. And then in the description, say, hey, I was featured, something like, hey, we were featured, I was featured, my company was featured, this brand that I work with was featured in whatever publication, and then directly link to it. It's a great way for you to drive traffic using the tools natively as they were originally wanting them to be used. So drive them directly to that link. If you're looking to connect with reporters to be featured in their publications, Haro, helpareporter.com is a great opportunity for you. It connects reporters with people in specialized fields to be featured in a mutually beneficial way. They need content and leads, and you want the exposure. Here's a example of what their website looks like, where you would go through, you're saying that I'm a source, because you're a source, not a journalist. And then you're going to set up a bunch of filters onto what type of topics that you can help with. And then a few times a day, you are going to get the Haro to reach out to you to say, these are what reporters are looking for. You would click the link. That link is going to drive you to what these reporters are looking for. And then you basically email Haro back. And from that, they will decide whether or not you fit the bill of what they're looking for. If you win, the reporter will reach out to you. If not, then they won't. If you recognize and do this a lot, one quick tip that I have is to have a copy and paste machine ready, have a document ready where you start to have the same questions being asked so that you can just copy and paste with maybe slight tweaks as to what everyone is asking, because a lot of reporters do ask a very similar question over and over again. Instead of you having to try and figure out and start from scratch every single time, you have a basis to start by. You have a theme to start by. If you're enjoying what you're listening to right now, would love for you guys to join the Anomaly Nation. Simply on Facebook in the search bar, type Anomaly, Mally Nation, and it will take you to the Anomaly Nation Facebook group, or simply go to facebook.com/groups/Anomaly Nation. It'll take you there. Also, would love to know what you're working on, and we should just chat about it. I want to know about it. Go to bit.ly/50TENZMS. That's bit.ly/50TENZMS for Zach Miller Says right now. And I'd love to schedule to learn about what you're working on. bit.ly/5010ZMS, or just look at the screen and that's there. Join the Anomaly Nation as well. You've probably been working a lot, and you have a wonderful portfolio of work, yet the world has yet to see it. You need to capitalize on that and show the world what you've been working on. Think about an amusement park. They don't just have people show up to not know what was there before. They showcase those amusement parks. They showcase their work. They showcase, if you're an author, you showcase your book. If you're an artist, you showcase your art. Show off your work is incredibly important to increasing your brand's exposure. Create a portfolio page on your website of all the work you've done. You want to include, if you don't do work, if you've done work for yourself, show that. If you Have a business where you do a lot of work for other people. Maybe you're that roller coaster manufacturer. Show what you've done for that company. Here's an example of how you could do that from a digital marketing agency standpoint. If you're an amusement park, you could show a plethora of your roller coasters or of your art if you're an artist. Then every few days, you want to show off that work. You want to schedule it out on your social profiles. This is free publicity. This is a free opportunity for you, the brand, the business, to share off what you've been working on. And if you are an amusement park, I love roller coasters, that's why I like to talk about them. If you're an amusement park, what's great about this is you simply just show off the roller coasters. Maybe it's a new roller coaster being developed. Maybe it's a new roller coaster that you've built and you want to show off it being built, or there's riders on it. Why would you not want to share that? Maybe you have a new piece of artwork that you want the world to see. Why wouldn't you want people to see what you've been working on? You do. You want the world to see it. Not in like an annoying, like, hey, every day, this is what I do, share with me type of post, but in a way that is engaging and showing people that you have something very special, because you do have something very special. The next time you're in your car, maybe it's right now, maybe it's in a couple hours, maybe it's in a couple of days, look at the license plate in front of you. It probably has a sponsored ad wrapped around it that says the dealership that person bought the car from. This is something that I call the license plate method, and it allows you to get your branding, your logo, your catchphrase on someone else's stuff. Maybe it's a bumper sticker. Maybe it's a logo on on someone's website. It's the license plate method. And oftentimes, the dealership that you bought your car from is doing this exact thing, and you probably didn't even know it. So what could you be doing to get your logo, your information on someone else's body? It could be a t-shirt, right? You wear a Nike t-shirt. That's their brand, building brand equity. It could be, maybe you're wearing a Zach Miller t-shirt that has a picture of my face on it. Would you buy that? Would you want that? That would be fun. If you want that, let me know, and I'll hit me up on Twitter at Zach Miller Says, or wherever. I'm at Zach Miller Says everywhere. ZACK Miller Says, SAYS. And maybe I'll make a picture of me. Would you want long hair Zach or short hair Zach? Beard Zach or not bearded Zach? Picture on your shirt. That would be fun. We should do that. I should do that. But the license plate method is basically getting your logo, your branding on someone else's thing. That thing can be a car. It could be a website. It could be a banner. It could be clothing. It could be, you can get a tattoo of me on you. That's fine. But it's a great way for you to get your brand on other people's stuff. The next two things I want to discuss are testimonials and social reviews. The difference between the two, while similar, is that social reviews you do not control, and testimonials you control almost every aspect of them. Let me show you how. These are 4 customers that I've had over the years. They're wonderful people, and they've given me these amazing quotes about how I've been able to help them in their business. What's great about it, though, is I not only get to help them, but because of these quotes, I can control where I put this information. I could put it on a webinar like this. I could put it on my website, which is what I've done. And I can share bits and pieces of what their quotes are that I want to use. A testimonial, I get to completely control where it is. And here's a couple other examples of testimonials on other websites. It's basically a great example, a great way for you to entice people who might be searching and looking about your business through your business page and saying, oh, this person looks like me, or this review, this testimonial sounds good, and it seems like they were really satisfied. Well, maybe I'll buy now. That's why a testimonial can be so incredibly valuable. When you're thinking about doing a testimonial, I recommend to not just do the big ones, to not just talk about the big businesses that you work with, but use the small, the medium, and the large size businesses so that you can capitalize on each avenue of potential revenue for your business. And you want to get testimonials, like I said, from companies of all different sizes and styles that it will appeal to everyone. And here are 3 more examples. But the key, what I want you to see here is actually not the company, not the name, or not the words, but actually the type of title that these individuals are saying: marketing automation specialist, director of human resources, or account manager with some lorem ipsum in there. Who, if you don't know what lorem ipsum is, it's like what people use as a placeholder for copying. But maybe you are in a business where you are working with a lot of account managers, human resource directors, or marketing automation specialists. So by putting in that vernacular, it allows you to appeal to those individuals even more. That's a nice little Zach hack. Once you get these testimonials, schedule them out. A testimonial, when you're scheduling them out, you want to create a simple graphic to share. You can go to canva.com to do that, or Fiverr if you want to spend a couple bucks. And then you want to tag the person or the company that you are talking about there, because likely if you tag them, they will also engage and share and promote that piece of information. And it's another piece of free publicity for yourself. If you don't know how to get a testimonial, I got one of these yesterday, actually. It says, "Hey client, it's been a blast working with you and seeing your product or service grow. We'd love to feature you on our site and throughout our channels. Can you provide a sentence or 2 about the experience you had with us? That's it. We'll do the rest. Thanks, in your name." I will say this, though. One challenge to this is the amount of time that it can take. So during phone calls or email exchanges, keep your eyes and ears open for anything they say that could qualify as a testimonial, and write it down. Write down what they say. Then you can look back at this and ask them, "Hey, you said this before. Can I use this as a testimonial?" It's a lot easier for them to do this. Why? Because it's difficult. So I got a request for this yesterday, literally. And while I'm very satisfied with the work that I did for this business, I have to sit there and say, well, what am I going to say? Right? But instead, if you just go back and say, hey, you've already said this, it's a great way for you to just say, hey, are you cool with me using this information? Most of the time when I've said that, when I've given them, hey, they're already existing quote, they're like, yeah, it's fine, just use it. Or tweak this little thing and we'll be cool with that, because it just makes their life easier instead of having to be like, what am I going to say? I don't know. I mean, how many books have you read in your life, and how many of them have you reviewed on Goodreads or Amazon? It's just hard. For whatever reason, it's not really hard. It's just we don't know what to say, so we don't do it. It's whatever. Social reviews are the things on social media: a Google, a Yelp review, a Facebook review, and they are also a great way for you to grow your brand awareness, your brand equity, but you don't really control them. You don't really control them at all. If someone does provide you with a review, I recommend that you comment back, engage back, thank them for that quote or for that review. And if it wasn't good, thank them for the review, and then take it offline and try to fix it so that you can make it better, because there's nothing worse than getting a review, a positive review, and then not even giving them love back. It's like a high five without a high five back. So So Juliet says she can't stay on and listen, but she had her interview on her local TV station, and it got slammed with orders. I'll watch her later. That's great. So she was able to meet with these reporters, and then because of that, like we talked about in part 1, that she was able to take that information, and then she's able to get the reporter to learn about her. And then they did a story about her, and then she got slammed with orders. And now she's so much that she can't listen to this. That's wonderful. Congratulations, Juliet. Back to social reviews. So social reviews, if someone leaves you a review, make sure that you respond back and are thankful for the review that they gave you. Again, if they give you a bad review, that's okay. I recommend that you don't get all ridiculous about it. Don't get emotional in the comments. Don't get angry in the comments. Just say, thanks. We're going to do whatever we can to make this better. And then find their contact information and reach out to them directly and try to fix it, because that will do wonders. A few years ago, I was looking through these reviews on Facebook I had, and I'd seen a 1-star review, and I was like, this is weird. So I looked up the person's name. I wasn't familiar with this person, and I went through our CRM and through our events, and I was like, I don't see this person in our system. It doesn't look like they've attended anything. This is weird because we take a lot of records of figuring out like who's come to the office, who's come to our events, who's on the email newsletter, because we want to know where our following and fans are. And I was like, this is weird. So I reached out to the individual and said, hey, I see that you have given this page, my business, a 1-star review. I'm so sorry for that to happen. Can you, I don't have records of you coming to one of these events that we put on. Can you explain to me what happened? At what event and what went down that we got the 1-star? On many of these review sites, you don't have to give context to why you gave a specific review. It was just 1-star and that was it. And the person was like, oh my gosh, I have no idea who you are. I have no idea how you got that 1-star review. I'm so sorry. I was like, oh, it's okay. And she was like, well, I'll delete it. And I was like, cool. But she ended up friending the page, which was actually quite interesting because when she friended the page, what happened next was absolutely crazy. She started to engage in actually some of our content, whether or not she felt bad for what had happened before, or I don't know, but it was just kind of funny that, because I had reached back out, I was able to turn her into a raving fan, where before it seemed like she wasn't satisfied. Same goes with you. Good or bad, you want to reach out to these individuals and figure out what you can be doing to get better. And if something is going wrong, what can you do to make that transaction that they've had, that experience with you, stronger? If you're looking for a way to get people to increase your exposure by giving you social reviews, think about taking this approach, this script. Hey, and then the people that you're talking to, we love you and we love being able to help you. We're working on increasing our exposure on Facebook, Yelp, and Google, and would love if you could go to this link and provide a review of our company. It would mean the world to us. Thanks so much for your help. Thanks in your name. Feel free to screenshot that if you want. Evergreen content is content that is perpetually relevant, just like the trees. The evergreen content is stuff that's going to not change over the years. And so if it's going to be perpetually relevant, it's an opportunity for you to create something that has everlasting or an evergreen approach, like a podcast. So let's say your idea is to get on a bunch of podcasts. I totally recommend that. You could start a podcast on your own if you really wanted to, but a podcast is a great avenue for you to get featured in a bunch of other places and a bunch of other media platforms, just like we talked about earlier in the traditional press. Podcasts are basically another form of media. And so if you're able to get on someone's podcast, it's a great way for you to capitalize off of their exposure. However, when you are on someone else's show, usually they're only going to promote that for so long, maybe even only a day or two. So you want to get into the driver's seat and promote that information yourself, because they're going to then record and produce the piece of material that is with you, and then they're going to start to promote other people as well. You can take this information by embedding the link, which is just a simple copy and paste job, onto your website, and then promote it from there. Here's an example of one of my shows on how I can push out the material as well. If this was someone else, if this was me trying to promote some of the shows that I've been on, this example could be, instead of 54, 53, 52, 51, it could be just like the As Seen on TV section that I showed you earlier with other episodes. It could be As Seen on and then these podcasts. And then you want to schedule these posts out. Again, if you're on someone else's show, don't just promote it once, promote it early and often. Something that I call the fraternity of podcast guest is ultimately your alumni. By finding other talks from the same podcast and reaching out to those people, you're able to meet new people and create a new relationship. You can use it to build new friends. It's incredibly valuable and easy opportunity for you to increase your exposure and to create more relationships with people who might live in your backyard or might live miles and miles away. For example, maybe you're on a show with me and this guy was also on. This guy's name is Gary. I then take his name, Google it, and I get his LinkedIn profile. From there, I learn a lot about him. And then I can reach out to him and say, yo, Gary, I listened to your episode on that podcast, and I wanted to tell you how awesome you are. I dug into some of your other work, and you're doing great, and I love it. I was also on that podcast, which is the Fraternia Podcast Guest, which isn't the name of the show, but that would be a cool show to start. I should start that name. That would be fun. And I'm glad I discovered you on that podcast, and I'll start sharing your work. Basically, you're just saying, hey, I found you, and we have a similar feature to our lives because we both run this same show. As you can see, that podcast is highlighted there. Whatever that podcast was, simply replace that podcast for whatever that show was. Blog posts are a great way for you to get your material out. But a way to actually increase people to stay on your site is to encourage them to read other articles on your site. So in the middle or at the end of your blog post, think about sharing a couple of highlights on why they might want to, or a headline of what else they could be reading on your site. The longer a visitor is on your site, the more likely they are to engage with you for a longer period of time. If they engage with you for a longer period of time, you're getting closer and closer to getting them to make that transaction with you. If you're in a grocery store for an hour, you're likely buying things. If you're in a retail shop for an hour, the longer you're in there, the more likely you are to buy that thing or buy a series of things. The same thing goes online. The longer you can keep someone consuming your material, your productions, your media, the more likely they are to stay on and then share it or do a transaction with it if you have something to sell. So encourage people to check out other popular posts on your site. Then if you have a new blog post that you've written or produced, make sure to email it out to your list. Interviews are a great way for you to increase your exposure. A few years ago, was able to meet Damon John from Fubu and Shark Tank. And I didn't just have this on my TV show and my podcast. I capitalized on this opportunity and then created it into a blog post and distributed it out and made it my own distribution channel. Again, be the distribution arm for yourself. Do not wait for the publication to do it for you. That's incredibly, incredibly valuable. So while I have this interview and it was viewed 25,000 times, or when it aired, there was 25,000 people watching it. That's great. But what else can I do to continue to distribute this out? I am the distribution arm for this material, and you should be as well. If the interview is evergreen, email it out to your list and schedule it out. If it's not, push it out as an expert. Push it as if you're the expert in whatever the subject matter is, and recycle as taking, I always do that, Throwback Thursday. I don't know why I say taking back. I don't know. Throwback Thursday in the coming months. Hey, remember when I interviewed Damon John? Is it a Thursday today? I don't even know what day it is anymore. It's a Wednesday, I think. We could do like, we should come up with a fun Wednesday thing. I digress. Throwback Thursday in the coming months, like, hey, remember when Damon John was here? Or throwbacks for any other podcast that you've had. Schedule it. And just like that, your social scheduling post is already filled up with things that you can do at least once a day for the next month. And finally, opt-ins. When someone comes to your website, you want to entice them to provide you their contact information in exchange for something from you. Maybe it's just a weekly newsletter. If you're interested in my weekly newsletter, go to zachmillersays.com/newsletter. And every Monday at 10:13 a.m., I send you one key thought of the week that will help you grow your business from a marketing angle. An opt-in is an exchange of some piece of content for contact information from your users, and typically it's an email. Now, before I said I wanted you to think about everyone and the big, small, and medium. Not in this case. You just be concise, be authoritative, use big wins, and use real numbers when possible. This is actually a terrible example that we used to have on one of my websites. It says, learn something new, and then give us your email for it. Learn what new. It wasn't concise enough. But here's an example of one that's great. This man right here is someone that wants you to know what he's doing. And so he's good at business. And he says, get 85% of my business hacks. You'll learn exactly how I started 2 multi-million-dollar businesses and how I grew a list of 700,000 plus. And then also it is endorsed by someone who also has a lot of clout in that field. It's a way for you to capitalize off of your already existing big wins to get people to get more from you. Over the last few moments in review, I've shown you how to find, win, and engage influencers, the process for funneling visitors into customers, how to turn disappointing guests into raving fans, and how to get anyone to open your emails. It was wonderful having you on this webinar today. I would love to learn more about you and your business and would love to schedule a consult. Go to bit.ly/50TENZMS to do so. That would be wonderful. And then also, if you're not already a part of the Anomaly Nation, in the search box, simply type Anomaly Nation on Facebook or go to the direct link, facebook.com/groups/Anomaly Nation. It's been an absolute wonderful time being with you today. Thanks for joining me. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to add them to the comments or join the Anomaly Nation Facebook group and I will answer them there. Until next time, I'm Zach Miller. Peace and pancakes, y'all. Peace and pancakes.